Chapter 3. Evolving Techniques, Dragon Might Divine Essence Technique. Isn't Leah also a mixed spiritual root? Guan's perception of Leah shifted instantly. Perhaps Leah was an unrecognized genius who would one day shine brightly. Moreover, his cultivation had already reached the 6th level of the Qi refining stage. What does this mean? Playing the fool to catch the tiger? The cultivation stages Guan had encountered, ranked from lowest to highest, were Qi refining, foundation establishment, core formation, nascent soul, and soul transformation. Each major realm was further divided into 9 minor levels. For Leah to have reached the 6th level of Qi refining at the age of 18, it was likely he would achieve foundation establishment within a few years and advance to become an official disciple of the Taishuan sect. Such a talented peer was someone worth building a good relationship with. Leah raised an eyebrow slightly upon hearing this and nodded. "All right. You've thought this through well. Call me tomorrow when you're up." With that, he turned and walked back to his quarters. Guan watched him close the door, feeling deeply moved. Indeed, there were class distinctions in every world. The disparity in status made it unlikely that he and Leah could ever truly be friends. Still, Guan wasn't angry. Having grown up as a servant, he was no stranger to scorn and neglect. He didn't resent Leah for it. After all, he did appear ordinary and unremarkable. No matter. Armed with his golden finger that could steal lifespans, Guan believed he would eventually ascend to immortality. Before that, what he needed was to stay low-key and safely get through this phase of accumulating lifespans. To remain safe, he couldn't stir up trouble or provoke conflicts. The lower his profile, the better. Guan smiled, turned, and closed the door to his room. The moon that night was full, its light spilling onto the courtyard steps like water. Morning. In the main hall, Guan, Meng Lang, and Leah stood side by side. In front of them, Cheng Xuandan sat on a chair, holding a cup of hot tea. Beside him stood Zhang Chu, the senior brother, who appeared very respectful. Zhang Qin refining stage level 5. Guan thought the senior brother's aptitude seemed mediocre. Then again, he reasoned. It made sense. This Herb Valley was not the only one in the Taishuan sect, and having someone like Leah emerge here was already quite rare. What's more, compared to these people, Guan had been the most useless at the start. Cheng Xuandan raised his clouded eyes to examine the 3 of them, and said, "I've heard from your senior brother about your performances. This being our first meeting, I'll give you all a welcoming gift. You may choose one of the following: Herbal Compendium, Qi Nourishment Technique, or the spell Poisonwood Vine. You can only pick one, and you're forbidden to share it with others. If I catch anyone doing so, they'll face severe punishment." Before anyone else could speak, Meng Lang was the first to reply. "Master, I'll take Poisonwood Vine." Guan thought to himself, no one's going to want the Herbal Compendium, so why not let Leah choose first and gain a bit of favor? Leah followed up, saying, "Disciple chooses the Herbal Compendium." Guan was stunned and looked at him in surprise. "Brother, not playing by the rules?" Meng Lang and Zhang Chengchu were equally surprised by Leah's choice, but they kept silent. Cheng Xuandan looked at Leah with approval, nodding slightly. "Not bad. You have good insight and are not impulsive." He waved his right hand toward the table, and 3 manuals appeared. With a glance, he signaled Zhang Chengchu, who immediately began distributing them. Guan didn't have time to speak throughout. "All right, so I'm being ignored." Naturally optimistic, Guan didn't feel discouraged. "Today, you may treat me coldly, but 16 years from now, I'll light incense for you without holding a grudge." Guan accepted the Qi Nourishment Technique manual with a feigned expression of happiness. There have been reports of demons infiltrating the Taishuan sect. Though the Herb Valley is on the edge of the sect and patrolled by disciples, dangers remain. Stay within the valley and don't venture out, Cheng Xuandan instructed before dismissing them with a wave of his hand. The 3 bowed and left. Trailing behind, Guan gently closed the door behind them. Cheng Xuandan nodded faintly. "That Leah boy is no ordinary individual. He's likely practicing some method to conceal his cultivation. His energy and spirit are on par with yours. Keep an eye on him. Also, he has royal lineage. Don't be too strict with him." Zhang Chunchu nodded and, after some thought, said, "Master, Guan is the most diligent one. With his poor aptitude, he's bound to stay in the Herb Valley the longest." Cheng Xuandan calmly replied, "Very well. Guide him properly. He's in your hands now. Zhang Chunchu smiled and bowed in gratitude. Meanwhile, Guan and the others returned to their courtyard. Along the way, Meng Lang chattered excitedly about the demons, showing no fear, only exhilaration. Leah stopped and turned to Guan. The Qi nourishment technique isn't bad. It helps conceal your energy and extend your lifespan. I didn't need it since I already have a technique. For someone like you, it's actually a better choice. Guan smiled. Thank you for the advice, Brother Li. I'll likely spend my whole life in the Herb Valley. The herbal compendium isn't very useful to me, and I can learn about herbs while following Senior Brother. Leah nodded, satisfied with Guan's receptive attitude. The three didn't chat much further, each returning to their own rooms. The Herb Valley's daily tasks were few, leaving ample time for cultivation. Guan sat on his bed and opened the Qi Nourishment Technique manual. Initially indifferent to the technique, Leah's words about concealing energy and extending lifespan piqued his interest. Deciding to practice it, he also wanted to test his ability to evolve techniques using lifespans. The previous year, he had practiced the Springwood technique given by Zhang Chengqiu, but without progress, he gave up after half a month. Instead of dull training, he preferred exploring the Herb Valley's library, learning about herbs and reading travelogues to broaden his perspective. Day after day passed. Aside from routine herb inspections, Guan focused on cultivation. After 15 days of practice, the words Qi Nourishment Technique finally appeared on his status panel, but it was still marked as unmastered. Guan eagerly examined his status panel. Trying the lifespan evolution for the first time made him both excited and nervous. He wondered how many years it would cost to evolve the Qi Nourishment Technique. Even though he had over 1,000 years of lifespan, he'd feel the pinch if it took decades or centuries. Focusing on the Qi Nourishment Technique on his status panel, Guan silently chose to invest a year of lifespan to evolve it. Please specify the amount of lifespan to invest. Without hesitation, Guan made his choice. Soon, 2 messages appeared. You invested 1 year of lifespan to evolve the Qi Nourishment Technique. You practiced the Qi Nourishment Technique for a year. Due to your mediocre aptitude and comprehension, there was no progress in cultivation, but your vitality improved. Guan felt a wave of comfort throughout his body, but the sensation quickly faded. That's it? The word mediocre deeply stung him. How unfair! Doubt crept in. Was aptitude related to his spiritual roots? He immediately selected his spiritual roots for evolution, investing a full 100 years of lifespan. You invested 100 years of lifespan to evolve your spiritual roots. You began comprehending the natural world, enhancing your spiritual roots' connection to it. After 100 years, your 5-element spiritual roots' sensitivity improved. Checking his status panel, he saw his spiritual roots had changed from ordinary 5-element roots to decent 5-element roots. Still a loss. Seeing his lifespan drop from 4 digits to 3, Guan was heartbroken. It seemed spiritual root evolution was a bottomless pit. Should I try the Qi Nourishment Technique again? Curiosity and the thrill of testing his lifespan evolution ability gnawed at him. I gained 1,000 years of lifespan with 1 try before. Spending a bit more now and earning later isn't a bad deal. Just this once. Taking a deep breath, he invested 500 years into the Qi Nourishment Technique. You invested 500 years of lifespan to evolve the Qi Nourishment Technique. After 1 year of practice, despite your mediocre aptitude and comprehension, you mastered the Qi Nourishment Technique. After 10 years, long-term cultivation brought new insights into the technique. After 100 years, it began absorbing natural spiritual energy, transforming into a cultivation method. After 200 years, it evolved into a divine technique, Dragon Elephant Vitality Technique. After 500 years, it reached perfection, becoming the Dragon Might Divine Essence Technique, and transformed your body. A flood of memories surged into Guan's mind as he completed the technique's evolution. Outside, a breeze stirred the curtains in his hair. Sitting cross-legged with eyes closed, he unconsciously exhaled, faintly echoing a dragon's roar. When he awoke, it was dark. Having fully inherited the technique's knowledge, he even mastered it instantly. The Dragon Might Divine Essence Technique, inspired by the cultivation of dragon turtles, could conceal energy, hide cultivation, and harness draconic power. He tested his newly enhanced body, marveling at his immense strength and heightened senses. However, he suppressed his aura to maintain a weak appearance, ensuring no one suspected his transformation. Finally, Guan opened his status panel. Techniques: Flame Control Technique, unmastered. Springwood Technique, unmastered. Dragon Force Divine Origin Technique, mastered to perfection. Can be evolved through lifespan investment. Dragon Force Divine Origin Technique, mastered to perfection. Guan was thoroughly pleased with his progress. However, he sighed at the fact that the Dragon Force Divine Origin Technique was a body refinement method and couldn't cultivate spiritual energy, leaving his cultivation level stuck at unranked. Even so, Guan was confident he could easily overpower anyone at the Qi refining stage. Now, he could patiently wait for his lifespan to increase. The Dragon Force Divine Origin Technique had already reached completion, and the energy coursing through his body would naturally extend his lifespan. However, the rate at which it would do so was still uncertain. That night, Guan found it hard to fall asleep. Even after staying up until dawn and repeatedly refreshing his attribute panel, he saw no change in his lifespan. He comforted himself. No matter how powerful the technique, there's no way it could add a year of lifespan overnight. Patience, he muttered to himself. Heaven rewards those who persevere. Sooner or later, there will be surprises. Guan washed up and stepped out of his room, intending to take a stroll around the herb garden to calm his mind. Coincidentally, as he arrived at one part of the garden, his gaze fell upon a familiar white-furred mouse. It was the same mouse that had previously nibbled on the calm spirit grass. Guan looked around carefully and confirmed that no one else had left their rooms in the herb valley. He then quietly approached the white-furred mouse. The mouse had its back to him and was about 30 feet away, completely unaware of the approaching danger. When Guan was within about 7 steps, he moved like an arrow released from a bow. In a flash, he closed the distance and grabbed the mouse with his right hand. The white-furred mouse panicked and froze in terror, raising its tiny paws in surrender. Daring to steal my lifespan, ha! You're done for! Guan chuckled smugly. As he caught the mouse, he noted its delayed reaction to his sudden movement. Too slow.